I'm Antonio Giordano and I work for Pixel, Italy. Pixel is a contractual partner within the Golden Ratio Teaching European project. This video aims at presenting the didactic tool I've been choosing within the Golden Ratio Teaching European project, the flipped classroom methodology. Flipped classroom is a pedagogical approach in which direct instruction moves from the group learning space to the individual learning space, and the resulting group space is transformed into a dynamic, interactive learning environment where the educator guides students as they apply concepts and engage creatively in the subject matter. While often defined simplistically as schoolwork at home and homework at school, flipped classroom is an approach that allows teachers to implement a methodology in their classroom. For this reason, it would be useful to start from explaining each single letter composing the flipped classroom methodology. F stands for flexible environment. Flipped learning allows for a variety of learning modes. Educators often physically rearrange their learning space to accommodate a lesson or unit to support either group work or independent study. They create flexible spaces in which students choose when and where they learn. Furthermore, educators who flip their classes are flexible in the expectations of students' timelines for learning and in their assessments of student learning. L stands for learning culture. In the traditional teacher-centered model, the teacher is the primary source of information. By contrast, the flipped learning model shifts instruction to a learner-centered approach, wherein class time is dedicated to exploring topics in greater depth and creating rich learning opportunities. As a result of these, students are actively involved in knowledge construction as they participate in and evaluate their learning in a manner that is personal and meaningful. Then we have intentional content. Flipped learning educators continually think about how they can use the flipped learning model to help students develop conceptual understanding as well as procedural fluency. They determine what they need to teach and what material students should explore on their own. Educators use intentional content to maximize classroom time in order to adopt methods of student-centered active learning strategies, depending on grade level and subject matter. Finally, the P, which stands for professional educator. The role of a professional educator is even more important and often more demanding in a flipped classroom than in a traditional one. During class time, they continually observe their students, providing them with feedback relevant in the moment and assessing their work. Professional educators are reflective in their practice, connect with each other to improve their instruction, accept constructive criticism, and tolerate controlled chaos in their classrooms. While professional educators take on less visibly prominent roles in a flipped classroom, they remain the essential ingredient that enables flipped learning to occur. But which is the aim of the flipped classroom methodology? A flipped classroom is an instructional strategy and a type of blended learning which aims to increase student engagement and learning by having students complete readings at their home and work on live problem solving during class time. It moves activities, including those that may have traditionally been considered homework, into the classroom. In the traditional model of classroom instruction, the teacher is typically the central focus of a lesson and the primary disseminator of information during the class periods. The teacher responds to questions while students defer directly to the teacher for guidance and feedback. In a classroom with a traditional style of instruction, individual lessons may be focused on an explanation of content using a lecture style, a traditional lecture style. Student engagement in the traditional model may be limited to activities in which students work independently or in small groups or in application tasks designed directly by the teacher. Class discussions are typically centered on the teacher who controls the flow of information and the flow of the conversation. Typically, this partner of teaching also involves giving students the task of reading from a textbook or practicing a concept by working on a problem set, for example, outside school. The flipped classroom shifts instruction to a learner-centered model in which time in the classroom is used to explore topics in greater depth and create meaningful learning opportunities while students are initially introduced to new topics outside of the classroom. In a flipped classroom, content delivery may take a variety of forms. Often, video lessons prepared by the teacher or third parties are used to deliver content, although online collaborative discussions, digital research, and text readings may be used. Anyway, it is important to clarify that flipped classroom is not a synonym for online videos, or not only a synonym of classroom and online videos. Because in class lessons within the flipped methodology may include activity learning or more traditional homework problems, among other practices, to engage students in the content. Class activity may include obviously the video lessons, but also active learning allows students to apply concepts in class where they can ask peers or instructors for feedback and clarification. Laboratory experiments, original document analysis, debate, or speech presentation give students the opportunity to articulate their thoughts on the spot and to develop their arguments in support of their opinions. Peer reviewing, students can teach each other by explaining concepts or working on small problems. Project problem-based learning and collaborative learning. Collaborative learning activities could increase student engagement, enhance student understanding, and promote collective intelligence. Having the student already prepared by the video lessons they received at home means that there is, within the classroom, more time to exercise and to ask students to practice the knowledge they already developed within several activities, and there is more time for students to ask for clarification with the teacher, acting as, I would say, a guide, a tutor, instead of just a teacher. And interaction between the teacher and the students within the flipped classroom methodology is much more personalized and less didactic. And students are actively involved in knowledge acquisition and construction as they participate in and evaluate their learning. In addition, since students watch most teacher lectures at home and are receiving instruction as homework, they can spend class time working through any misunderstandings around the content with the teacher acting as I said, tutor or guide on the site. But why should I flip my classroom? Which are the advantages? Flipping the classroom means promoting peer interaction and collaboration skills, encouraging higher student engagement, making learning central rather than teaching, fostering independent learning, and providing increased individualized attention. Obviously, there are some pros and cons of flipping the classroom. About the pros, flipping speaks the language of today's students, help busy students, help students of all abilities, allow students to pause and go back with questions, having a direct connection with their teacher, increase student-teacher interaction, allows teachers to know their students better, increase student-student interaction, allows for real differentiation, changes classroom management, changes the way we as teachers talk to parents, and makes the class transparent. About the cons of using this kind of approach, for students, there exists a digital divide. Not all families are from the same socio-economic background. Therefore, access to computer outside the school environment is not possible for all students. Some students may struggle due to their developing personal responsibility. And finally, the flipped classroom really leads to increased computer time in a period, in a context where children already spend a lot of time in front of computer screen. Which are the steps to be undertaken in order to flip the classroom? The 6 steps guide to flipping your classroom. Let's start with plan. Step 1, figure out which lesson in particular you want to flip. Outline the key learning outcomes and the lesson plan. Make the recording. Second step, instead of teaching this lesson in person, make a video. Otherwise, you can look for a good video. Make sure it contains all the key elements that you would mention in the classroom. Step number 3, share. Send the video to your students, make it engaging and clear, or find one which is engaging and clear. Explain that the video contents will be fully discussed in class. Change. Now that your students have viewed your lesson, they are prepared to actually go more in depth than even before. Group. An effective way to discuss the topic is to separate students into groups, asking them to performing practical activities like write a poem, prepare a PowerPoint presentation, or make a video, and so on. And then regroup. Get the class back together to share the group work with everyone. Ask questions, dive deeper than even before. And after these 6 steps, review, revise, and repeat. That's all. I would like to thank you for your attention and enjoy the flipped classroom methodology.